So we are kind of getting the right motion, and let's maybe go ahead and go to our sparse solver and go to advanced and just increase the substeps, since we will be dealing with a rather fast moving smoke. Okay, so this will now just give me a more accurate result. Now we can see that the particles are going along the head and in the direction that we want. The problem here is that since the particles aren't lasting for too long, they are being sourced in only for a couple of frames, and they are giving velocity to our smoke, and then since they die off early, the smoke is left by itself to kind of flow in a more free direction, and as a result it will sort of expand a little bit more than what we would want to. So what we have to do is go up, and for this second stream of particles over here, which is responsible for our velocity, we want to make these particles last a little bit longer, so that the smoke simulation is being pushed a little bit more in the direction of which the particles are going. So I will go inside my PubNet, and for my source I will go to life expectancy and just increase this value to maybe 0.3. And if I were to preview this result now, the particles are lasting a little bit longer, so this will just overall help push our smoke more in the direction that we want. So now as I go back, I can go to my DOP import field and we can preview this now. So hopefully we can see now that the particles are moving a little bit more in the direction of the particles, and we can maybe go back inside the DOPNet, and we don't really need the smoke to last for so long, so go to the shape and increase the dissipation to 0.15. And let's go up a level and go to my volume rasterize for the velocity, for the velocity particles, and let's maybe Control Shift click this value over here, and let's set the voxel size to a lower scale, so 0.025. And what this will do is this will just give our velocity field a little bit more resolution, which will result in a more detailed simulation. So if I were to go to my volume trail, I can kind of see now that we have a little bit more resolution as I increase this to 0.025 from 0.05, as you can see here. And we can also go in our DOPNet, and let's maybe just increase the overall resolution of this simulation to a voxel size of 0.035. And let's maybe preview this result. And let's maybe make this whole effect go a little faster, and we can go up and let's maybe go to our PubNet, and inside this follow and PubVop we can go ahead and go inside, and I simply want to scale the speed of which the particles are going. So before I plug this n into the velocity, I want to go ahead and drop down a multiply node, and I will promote the second input to a constant and just make this go twice as fast. So we simply multiply the velocity by 2. And I will go ahead and grab these two nodes, and we have to do the same for our second stream over here for the velocity particles. Go inside follow n and plug my nodes over here. Okay, so now the particles are going twice as fast. And now maybe since the particles are moving a little bit too fast, we can just increase the substeps here as well to maybe a value of 2, and the same thing here, increase this to a value of 2. So now if I preview my smoke simulation, so we can see now that this is the result that we get. One problem here is that the smoke is kind of blowing in an upwards direction, whereas we want this to point straight in the Z direction. And we might have to adjust this N attribute for our geometry. So if I were to preview this, we can see that these are kind of pointing a little bit up, and if I go inside here, This new vector that we are computing here, we can modify a little bit simply by modifying this constant that we are subtracting from the points, from the position of the points. So I can maybe adjust the y value here. And what I'm looking for is that these vectors here around the center, they are sort of horizontal. Okay, so something like this. Because we can see that the skull isn't really in the center of our scene, it's a little bit more upwards, so we need to offset this as well. Okay, and let's go back, and let's also go to this source over here, and maybe just increase the overall brightness of this noise, and I will just decrease this minimum value a little bit. Just so we spawn a little bit more particles with our pop simulations. Okay, so let's preview this smoke now again. So now we can see that it's going straight in the direction of the z-axis. So it's going straight horizontally.